I'm Boston 25 News reporter Drew Caritas on scene in Boston, where a bill that aims to cut down on the number of miles people drive in their personal cars across the state is one step closer to reaching the governor's desk.
There's too many cars on the roads. Traffic in Boston has become terrible.
An effort to reduce the number of statewide driving miles is advancing on Beacon Hill, and the bill that focuses on how much people drive is bringing both praise and criticism.
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts was one of the largest areas in this country where we saw the No Kings protests, because all of the Democrat leftist lunatics have some idea in their head that the United States is being run by a king, meaning President Donald Trump. He might have said that at one point, I'm going to be the king, and of course everything he says scares the Democratic Party, so they thought he was being legitimately serious. We all know that's nonsense. They didn't want any kings in Massachusetts, but apparently Governor Maura Healey has no problem with being the queen. This bill that the Massachusetts legislature is trying to get passed is called an act aligning the Commonwealth's transportation plans with its mandates and goals for reducing emissions and vehicle miles traveled. So what they're saying is, they want to put a statewide committee or council together to track how far the residents drive their cars. And they say it's nothing like that. It's not government overreach. There will be no fines, no penalties, no problem. They're just trying to have the taxpayers in that state, the taxpayers who are paying enormous amounts of money to live there, under Queen Maura Healey. They want to charge them more money to keep their car parked and pay for a train or a bus or a cab. And they say, it's not a problem. All our green emissions goals are going to save these people money, so much money in the future, when we all know that's nothing but an outright lie. This act wants to establish a statewide council to figure out how to expand non-car travel options and suggest ways to reduce reliance on personal vehicles. What about the people who live in rural areas of Massachusetts where buses, for instance, or trains aren't readily available? They have no choice but to drive far for work, for school, for daycare, for appointments. They have a car at their convenience to use when they want and to go how far they choose to go. And all the climate gurus, all the Green New Deal Democrats are against it. They're against you owning a car and using it as you please.
It just seems like the wrong way to approach things. Everybody's doing their best. They have to drive to get to work.
The Freedom to Move Act centers around bringing Massachusetts in line with its climate mandates. Supporters say the transportation sector accounts for the greatest share of carbon emissions in the state.
It's not about individuals and how much you're driving. It's about the investments that the state makes in our infrastructure.
The bill would establish a new council to find ways to make public transportation more accessible, looking at boosting options like trains, buses, and bike lanes.
It's completely out of touch with reality. There's so many people in Massachusetts who have to drive because it's a way of life.
Paul Craney, executive director of the Massachusetts Fiscal Alliance, believes the bill doesn't consider people in rural and some suburban communities.
If you live in Boston and you want to ride the train or public transportation, that's good for you. But don't force this on the rest of the state.
A statement from the bill's sponsor, Senator Cynthia Stone Cream, says, quote, "It does not in any way limit people's choices about how to get around. It does not impose fines, penalties, or taxes on drivers. In fact, it gives people more choices."
And that Mr. Kevin Shen there is absolutely wrong. Quite frankly, I'm going to say he just lied to us, because it is a way to stop you from driving how far you want to drive. And although they claim, again, that they're not going to track you, we all know it's so easy to do that today. There are license plate reader cameras in every city and town in the United States of America. There's AI, there's computers, there's satellite dishes, and what have you. They can track you if they want to, and it's my opinion that that's what this is all about. They want to punish you because they are going to claim that you driving your personal vehicle is polluting the air. They used to call it the ozone layer. I don't know what they call it today. I don't follow this nonsense. All their climate change, all the whiny crybabies. They want wind farms. They want solar energy. But what they're not telling you is those things are not going to save anyone any money. And if it were to save money, it's probably 20, 30, maybe 50 years down the road. These people are out of their bloody minds. This will do nothing but put more overreach for the government on everyday citizens. It's only a matter of time. Well, you will start getting letters in the mail telling you exactly how far you drove. And there may be photographs of your car in certain areas, like you may see if you go through a red light and it takes a picture of your car and sends it to you. I'm guilty. I've done it, and I've had pictures sent to me of my car as clear as day going through a red light. Oh, well, I'm sorry. And they claim it's nothing like that. Critics of this, of course, there should be plenty of critics of it, because this is going to limit how far people can go. Watchdog groups are claiming that this bill doesn't do anything but give the government the right to monitor where and how far their citizens are going. And they can say there'll never be penalties all they want. And if that's truly the case, why do it at all? If you want your residents to take trains and buses and cabs or whatever, ride bikes, walk on paths, whatever you want, why do you need this? You need it because you know your plan is going to fail. You know all your green energy goals are fruitless. They're all going to fail because all these politicians know they will never work. The majority of these Green New Deal politicians are all in with the companies that make the windmills and solar panels. They're getting large campaign donations from them. They're lobbying for them. What are we doing as a country? I don't live in Massachusetts, thank God. Rhode Island is expensive enough, and we have a governor who is so clueless, and he's running for re-election at a 19% approval rating. But chances are, because Rhode Island voters are so blind, they'll re-elect this man to keep destroying our state. But that's a story for another day. Queen Maura Healey, she was so against King Donald Trump, but she wants to put this into action because she wants green energy. Is the car that she drives every single day or she gets driven around in, is it an electric vehicle? I'm going to venture and say, no, it's not, because they're not economical. Everyday people can't afford an electric car, and quite frankly, why would you want one? You can only go a certain distance, and hopefully you can find a charging station for it. This is all a political scam to make more money for the government so they can continue spending their money on things that do nothing to help their own people, but help illegal immigration and some woke policies that they want to implement and let their residents suffer and tell them you're on your own. This is absolutely a bad idea. There is no way that these politicians, if passed, are going to continue and not monitor people's driving. The writing is on the wall. I'll say it one more time. If they're not going to fine you or penalize you, why do you need a statewide council? You can still have the statewide council. If you all want to sit in a room with a bunch of woke scientists and leftists and talk about how we can save the planet, go ahead and do it. But why punish the residents and tell them they're going to be limited to how far they can drive in their own car. I'll tell you one thing, the only way I would agree with this, and the residents in the Commonwealth should agree with it, let the Commonwealth pay for your car. You make the monthly payments, and I'll drive it as little as you would like. End of story. Well, we all know that's a fantasy. We'll never see that, but they're going to continue to reach their greedy hands into the pockets of their citizens to make them put out more money for public transportation that will not get them where they need to be on time. It's a plan that will guarantee fail. There's no doubt about it. And I also guarantee you that if this goes into effect, it's only a matter of time before people start getting tracked from when they leave their driveway to when they get back home at the end of the day. The government is going to know how far they went, every stop they made, and you're going to be penalized and you're going to be fined for it. Queen Maura Healey is a waste. She's a destructive Democrat who is just trying to bankrupt the Commonwealth and bankrupt the citizens who live in Massachusetts. She needs to be voted out of office like every other leftist. And this plan is an absolute no-go, and it should never, ever happen.